When I got home, my 5-year-old boy was screaming. He was so happy to see me. I had been gone all week on work travel, flight delays, early mornings, long meetings, late dinners. I stood in the doorway, exhausted and scattered. The greeting that gave me such a warm smile when I came in quickly dissipated when he asked me a simple favor: "Can you push me on the swing?" But I wasn't going to say no in that moment. So there I was, pushing him from the front of the swing, still dressed in a suit, my mind 1,000 miles away. Within a couple of moments, my leg began to buzz. So I reached into my pocket, I pulled out my phone, and now I was doing one of these things. Does that look familiar to you? Or some variation of it? Yeah. I call it a gray zone. It's any time we're straddling two worlds, in this case, my job and my son, doing a disservice to both and myself in the process. He must have said it a couple of times because I finally heard it as, "Dad!" And as he's swinging, he said, "Why do you go to work if you do work at home?" He wasn't trying to be clever. He was just curious. That moment really struck me. And what I observe on a regular basis is a simple modern-day reality. The way we're working isn't working. There is a growing belief that our world is becoming unmanageable. Consider for yourself how many days in a typical month you wake up buzzing at the prospect of going to work. Or perhaps even more vital, how often you come home with enough energy for the people or the things that matter most to you. If upon that reflection you're somewhat dissatisfied, it's worth exploring the root of that problem. Let's talk about that. Since the technological revolution, demand is beginning to exceed our capacity to meet it. And as demand in our lives increases, our capacity, that's the fuel in our tank, does not naturally rise right up to meet it. Unfortunately, we've taken capacity for granted. The speed and complexity of demand in our lives has disconnected us from what we intuitively know is best for us. We're expected to juggle more tasks, stay more connected, respond more quickly, get more done than ever before. Is it any real surprise we're more overwhelmed, anxious, or distracted than ever before? In navigating our busy lives, we're still relying on the same core resource we always have to get things done. You know what that is. It's time. But time is finite. There's 168 hours in a week. We're never getting a second more. We're working longer hours as a society, so ask yourself the important question: are you getting it all done? That's the primary limitation with time. So if you're going to increase your capacity, you're going to need to rely on another resource. Well, there's good news. Energy, as it's defined in physics, is simply the capacity to do work. More energy equals more capacity. And unlike time, that's an external resource and sits outside of you, energy is internal, so you can influence it. And it can be functionally expanded, renewed, and used more efficiently. And to that end, it is our most precious and undervalued resource. But you know, human energy is somewhat complex. There's 4 dimensions of energy in the human system, and it starts with physical. That's foundational. It's the quantity of your energy. It's influenced by sleep, nutrition, movement, and intermittent daytime rest. For example, without sufficient sleep, everything else in your life suffers. Exhaustion makes seemingly easy tasks into challenging ones, causes us to forget where we put our keys, or results in us half listening to our children. Emotional is the quality of your energy because how you feel in the moment is how you show up and perform in the moment. Mental, the focus of your energy, the ability to cultivate absorbed attention, is especially critical at a time when our attention is under siege. Does your mind race at 4 a.m.? Are you prone to doing simpler or more reactive tasks like checking email? Taking control of our attention not only means we can get more done in less time, but also prioritize our most important tasks. And then spiritual, or the purpose of your energy. The sense that what you do matters to you. The feeling that gets you out of bed in the morning feeling fired up to go to work. Because when you know why you do what you do, you bring a lot more energy to it. So there you have it. 4 dimensions of energy. Now, I have your time right now. But if you didn't sleep well last night, or you got into an argument with a loved one this morning, or you're thinking about all the other things that you need to do, then what does it really matter that I have your time? If I don't have your energy, if I don't have your engagement. In fact, there are 3 key misconceptions about the relationship between time and energy, and we have no shot at addressing any of them until we begin to notice their impact. Consider this for a moment. It's not the number of hours you invest that determines the value you create. It's also the energy you bring to whatever hours you work. Overwhelming evidence makes this plainly clear, by the way. The 40-hour work week is the most ideal for your productivity and focus while minimizing exhaustion and burnout. But we talk about putting in the time, somehow expecting that should justify our effort or lead to success or the perception that we're invested. We don't talk about putting in the energy. We still live by the myth that those who are willing or those who are most successful are those willing to work longer hours, stay the course, work on vacation, do what it takes. But peak performers from a variety of different disciplines are sleeping 14 more hours per week and getting a lot more rest than the average worker, just as one example. This leads us right to misconception number 2. Because in working longer hours, somehow we feel that we were born to do that, or that we're designed to do that. For 200 years, we've been guided by a defining ethic. More, bigger, faster is always better. So we're compelled to work longer, more continuously. But the longer you go without real renewal, the closer you come to running on empty. Here's the reality. Human beings are not meant to operate like computers at high speeds, continuously running multiple programs at the same time. If you need proof of that, and you've seen this before, witness the driver who tries to operate a vehicle while texting. Watch them swerve to the side of the road or go 15 miles an hour under the speed limit. They can't do it. Yet that's how we're driving our lives in the modern workplace. Human beings are meant to pulse, to move rhythmically between spending energy and renewing energy. The science is clear. Your heart, your lungs, your brain makes waves. Even your eyes blink. It's a basic law. If you spend energy, you must be able to refuel to convert for more energy. There's nothing more foundational to your survival. And the good news is, it's not the quantity of your renewal that matters as much as it is the quality of your renewal. So pay attention to your body. That's where you notice it first. Your body is adept at alerting you when it's time to rest and refuel. Notice the symptoms: fatigue, back pain, irritability, impatience, attention wandering, getting fidgety, or lack of motivation. But we override those signals, don't we? We override them with sugary snacks, or we over-caffeinate, Without even realizing it, we turn on our body's own stress hormones, adrenaline and cortisol, that tear apart our health and vitality. They weaken our resilience, diminish our ability to innovate and reflect, and literally shorten our lifespan. Great performers instinctively understand the power of renewal as a fuel for performance. They invest as much time and attention in renewing their energy as they do in building their capability and skill sets. But with mounting workloads, increased personal obligations, and organizations that don't really value renewal, it's clear why we've arrived at misconception number 3. Recent research revealing that 75% of US adults are within an arm's reach of their mobile device at all hours is the latest indication that our attention is under siege. There's probably no greater misconception when it comes to getting work done than that multitasking increases your efficiency. It's not even a term to describe how the human brain works. Because the human brain can't do 2 cognitive tasks at the same time, so-called multitasking requires switching time. And it's time-consuming and it's inefficient. One comprehensive study showed that on average it takes 25% longer to complete 2 tasks when you switch between them than if you were to just focus on doing them one at a time. When we split our attention between 2 tasks, we can't fully focus on either one. And when it comes to efficiency and quality, we are best served by having distinct periods of time where you are singularly focused and uninterrupted. With expectations from ourselves, we put this on ourselves as well as on others, to produce high-quality work under conditions of fatigue, fear, or distraction, and to juggle multiple demands in an attempt to get it all done. It's no wonder we're in a constant battle to stay awake and maintain our relationships, keep up with the work that we need to do, and find a sense of meaning in our lives. But it is possible. It is possible to get more done in less time, at a higher level of quality, more sustainably. The answer lies in more skillfully managing your energy, living a more rhythmic life by adopting the mindset of a sprinter. Without proper renewal, you're living your life as a marathon. There's no end in sight, and it's not sustainable. If you were to run full out in a marathon, you would collapse in the first mile. But if you were to pace yourself and you never get to a finish line, eventually you burn out. And long before that, your productivity and your enthusiasm begin to diminish. Studies consistently show if you feel compelled to run or to work continuously, you will give less than full effort along the way. On average, people work about 40% of the time that they're at their desks. But what about the sprinter? How does the sprinter spend such a burst of energy without burning out? The sprinter sees the finish line. That's what we've lost in our lives. We've lost the finish lines. The goal, the challenge for all of us is to build back-in finish lines where they've disappeared. A healthy pulse and clear starting points and stopping points. A healthy pulse so that when you're spending energy, you are fully engaged, and when you're disengaged, you are fully letting go. No more. Let's remember, we were managing our energy long before we were managing our time. So seize back your life. After all, it belongs to you. Thank you.